You sat down to study, you opened your notes, you told yourself, okay, this time I'm actually going to focus. And then 5 minutes later, you're checking your phone. Maybe it's Instagram, maybe YouTube Shorts. But somehow those 5 minutes turn into 30. Here's the surprising part. The reason you can't focus isn't because you're lazy. Some people who struggle with focus aren't distracted because they pay too little attention. They're distracted because their attention gets captured too easily. And once you understand what's happening in your brain, fixing your attention span is easier than most people think. Think about this morning. How many times did you check your phone before breakfast? Every time you scroll reels or shorts, every time you refresh an app, your brain gets a tiny dopamine reward. Fast, easy, effortless. And your brain loves that. The problem is your brain starts adapting to this constant stream of instant rewards. So when you sit down to study, your brain suddenly faces slow rewards, delayed gratification, mental effort. Compared to scrolling, that feels incredibly boring. So your brain starts hunting for that dopamine hit it's been trained to expect. That urge to check your phone every few minutes, that isn't weakness, it's conditioning. But here's where it gets interesting. Scientists discovered the problem isn't always that people can't focus. Sometimes they're focusing too much, just on the wrong thing. Researchers call this an attentional blink. When your brain locks onto a distraction, it temporarily goes blind to everything else. You're not scattered, you're overlocked. People who struggle most with concentration experience significantly more attentional blinks. So forcing yourself to focus harder doesn't work. That's like running faster on a twisted ankle. You need to reset the system before you start. In one experiment, participants spent just 17 minutes sitting quietly. No music, no phone, just paying attention to their breathing. When their minds wandered, they brought attention back. Simple awareness. And researchers observed measurable improvements in focus afterward. Not after weeks. One session. Scientists call this interoception, awareness of what's happening inside your body and mind. So before you study tonight, set a timer for 15 minutes, close your eyes, pay attention to your breathing, and every time your mind wanders, gently bring it back. No judgment. That's layer 1. Layer 2. Make distraction harder, not focus easier. Phone across the room, not face down across the room. Close every tab except one. Write your exact task, not study biology. Instead, read pages 12 to 18 and write 3 key points, one target, one task. Then mentally picture yourself opening the book, picking up the pen, writing the first sentence. This primes your brain to start. Then study for just 10 minutes. That's the only goal. Because focus works like fitness. Nobody goes from 0 to a marathon. 10 minutes becomes 20. 20 becomes 40. Here's what most advice misses. You will get distracted. That's normal. The question is, what happens next? Most people feel guilty. But guilt doesn't fix habits. It drains energy. Research shows the moment right after a bad habit is powerful for rewiring behavior. So when you drift, immediately do one small positive action. Take 5 deep breaths, drink water, write one sentence. Over time, your brain links the distraction to the positive action that follows. You create a chain. And eventually you catch yourself before the habit unfolds. Awareness is where real change begins. You don't have a laziness problem. You have an attention system trained by technology to expect constant stimulation. Systems can be retrained, reset before you start, make distraction harder, and when you slip, chain something positive immediately after. Tonight, just try the first layer. 15 minutes, no phone, eyes closed, before you study. Then come back and tell me in the comments how long you managed to focus. Subscribe for more science-backed explanations that help you understand your brain instead of just blaming yourself.